You ever wonder why people look at you like you're this mystical creature they can't figure out? Like you're either a misunderstood genius or an emotional cryptid wandering among mortals? Well, here's the part they don't know. Sigma INFJs have habits, dark habits, quiet habits, things you don't advertise but absolutely do. And once we break them down, you'll understand why people say, I can't tell if that INFJ is an angel or an endgame boss. Today, we're diving into the habits you don't brag about because they're not cute little quirks. They're the kind of habits that make people go, oh wow, I should probably never mess with them. Ready? Good. So before we dive in, drop a comment with the habit you relate to most. Hit like if this already feels too real, and subscribe for more deep dives into the INFJ mind. Let's get into it. All right, first on the list, the Simulacrum persona. You don't just mask, you simulate. Masking is what people do when they're trying to blend in and avoid judgment, but let's be honest, that's too basic for you. You're out here running a one-person theater production with a rotating cast of main characters, and most people have no idea they've never even met the director. You've mastered the art of the simulacrum, constructing entirely different versions of yourself for different social landscapes, not to fit in, but to gain absolute control over the outcome. If life is a video game, you're the player who's not only unlocked every character skin, you're the one who hacked the game and created new ones that aren't even in the guidebook. Each you is a strategic social avatar built to match the environment, the expectations, and if we're honest, sometimes just to see what happens when you toss a wild card into the mix. The real kicker is, these aren't random personalities. They're purpose-built to nudge conversations, diffuse threats, or occasionally just make things weird enough that nobody tries to dig deeper. You have an inner menu of personalities, and you scroll through them the way most people scroll Netflix, trying to find something that won't bore you to tears. People think they're getting authenticity, but they're actually being cast in a private, ongoing experiment. The version of you that your boss sees is nothing like the version your best friend gets at midnight, or the version your barista meets at 8 a.m. when you're in cryptic monk mode and just nod for coffee. You don't do this to be fake. In fact, for you, it's a test. You know, most people don't really want honesty. They want comfort, reassurance, and someone who plays their social script. So, you perform, and you perform well. Sometimes you even forget which mask you left at which party, but that's half the fun, right? What's dark about this is that it means almost no one truly knows the real you, the main character who's writing all these scenes. If someone tries to peel back the mask, you just change the script. You're the only person at the masquerade who knows it's a masquerade, and that makes you both the most fascinating and the most untouchable person in the room. If this sounds a little diabolical, don't worry. At least you're putting those acting skills to good use. And next up, the gray rock, weaponization. When most people gray rock, they're just trying to survive drama. They go bland, they go quiet, and they hope the storm blows over. But you turn the gray rock technique into a psychological superweapon. You don't just go boring, you become a black hole for attention. When faced with someone toxic, manipulative, or just plain energy-sucking, you dial it all the way down to zero. No reactions, no spark, not even a flicker. You don't just ignore their attempts to provoke you. You turn into emotional white noise, so perfectly bland that even oatmeal would ask you to spice it up a little. The genius, and yes, the slightly diabolical side of this, is you're not doing it to protect yourself, you're doing it to exhaust the other person. You've realized that if you withhold all emotion, all validation, and all drama, the only thing left for the narcissist or manipulator is their own echo. And let's be honest, nothing is scarier to an attention seeker than being left alone with their own thoughts. You watch as they slowly unravel, pushing every button they can, getting louder, wilder, more desperate, and you just keep being the human equivalent of a loading screen. Meanwhile, you're not even annoyed. You're secretly running a a mental stopwatch to see how long it takes for them to implode. Maybe you're even taking notes for future reference. Because why not gather a little data while you're at it? Some people meditate for inner peace. You meditate by watching other people realize they have absolutely no power over you. That's a different kind of Zen. And the best part is, when it's over, the other person is left confused, frustrated, and completely out of steam, while you just walk away like you were never even there. If boredom was an Olympic sport, you'd be banned for performance-enhancing apathy. Third on the list, biohacking human hierarchies. You see social hierarchies for what they are, mostly arbitrary and, let's be honest, kind of hilarious. The average person bows to titles, authority, and whatever the office seating chart dictates, but you treat social ladders like they're just a code waiting to be hacked. If there's a group dynamic, you're quietly mapping the flow of power and testing where the real influence lives. Spoiler alert, it's almost never with the loudest person in the room. Sometimes you play the silent observer, fading into the background just to see what secrets people spill when they think you're not a threat. Other times, you can seize control out of nowhere, flipping the group script and suddenly running the whole show while people are still wondering who even invited you. If the CEO is acting like a toddler, you have no problem handling them with the same patience and mild amusement you'd use with an actual toddler. If the janitor drops wisdom, you'll treat them like royalty and probably end up learning something useful. You don't follow hierarchies, you exploit them. You know how to act submissive when it gets you what you need, and how to assert dominance when the power vacuum opens up. The magic is in how quickly you can switch roles, almost like you're speed running a game where every character can become the boss. People think you're just adaptable, but really, you're reprogramming the social structure in real time. The only rule you actually respect is the true distribution of power. Everything else is set dressing. And while most people are scrambling to climb the ladder, you're building a trap door at the bottom and a secret elevator to the top. Sometimes you dismantle the whole structure just to see what happens next. All while keeping a poker face so unreadable, people start to question if you've been the mastermind the entire time. Social hierarchies aren't obstacles for you. They're playgrounds. And you're the kid who figured out how to reroute the slide. Fourthly, the sniper critique. You don't do loud, messy arguments. Honestly, you probably find them a little bit amusing, like watching two people slap each other with wet noodles and call it sword fighting. When someone challenges you, you don't rush in swinging. You go quiet. You listen. You let them unload every argument, every accusation, every shaky fact, and you store it all away like a squirrel with a PhD in psychology. While your opponent is busy monologuing, thinking they're winning because you haven't said much. You're running silent diagnostics. You spot their logical weak spots, their emotional tells, their hidden insecurities. Basically, you're a sniper hiding in plain sight while everyone else is throwing rocks from 10 feet away. And when you finally do speak, you don't waste time with a barrage of counterattacks. You line up that single, perfectly calibrated sentence. A comment so precise, it feels less like a comeback and more like a software update that instantly crashes their operating system. You don't want to destroy people, but if someone insists on going head-to-head, you're not above pulling the trigger with surgical precision. One line from you and the argument's over, not with a bang, but with a silence so profound it echoes for days. Most people don't realize what happened until much later, when they're lying awake, replaying your words like a haunting pop song they can't get out of their head. After one of your sniper critiques, even the boldest debaters think twice before coming for you again. You don't win arguments, you end them. And honestly, there's a dark satisfaction in watching someone realize that bringing a sword to a sniper fight was never going to end well for them. Fifthly, psychic vivisection, the intrusive analysis. When most people say they're good listeners, they mean they nod a lot and occasionally say, uh-huh, at the right moments. But you're not just listening, you're dissecting. Every conversation is a psychological MRI. You're not waiting for your turn to talk, you're scanning for inconsistencies, defense mechanisms, and all the buried truths people desperately try to keep hidden, sometimes even from themselves. You have this almost unsettling habit of bypassing small talk and going straight for the psychological jugular. Someone tells you about their day, and you're already decoding the reasons behind their word choices, the way their eyes dart, or how their laugh gets a little too sharp when they talk about their friend at work. You pick up on emotional frequencies that most people can't even hear, let alone translate. It's not just empathy, it's forensic analysis with a dash of psychic surgery. People think they're sharing a casual story, but you're already 3 layers deep, reconstructing their childhood drama and predicting next week's emotional fallout. And you don't just stop at observation. Sometimes, without even meaning to, you strip away their mental armor and hand them a mirror they weren't ready to look into. They came to vent about a coworker and left, questioning their life choices. The wildest part is you're rarely wrong, which honestly freaks people out more than anything. It's like you're performing emotional surgery without anesthesia. Effective, but definitely not painless. People either feel completely seen or completely exposed around you. Either way, once they've experienced your psychic vivisection, small talk is never going to cut it again. Sixthly, the loyalty audit trap. Trust isn't something you hand out like free samples at a grocery store. It's more like rare currency and you run the central bank. People talk about loyalty, but you're the one quietly conducting loyalty audits that nobody knows are happening. You set little traps, not out of paranoia, but out of necessity. Maybe you share a harmless secret just to see if it boomerangs back to you. Maybe you step back emotionally to check who notices and who suddenly forgets you exist. Every relationship is a test, one the other person doesn't even know they're taking. You don't get dramatic or confrontational. If someone fails, you don't start an argument or post a cryptic status update. You just quietly demote them from inner circle to casual acquaintance status, and they'll never even know why the temperature dropped. Maybe they notice you're a bit colder, or maybe you're just busy for the next, well, eternity. Meanwhile, you've already run the numbers and moved on to the next audit. What's truly diabolical, if we're being honest, is that nobody knows they're being tested until it's too late. The people still in your trust zone don't even realize they've passed a dozen invisible exams. And the ones on the outside, they're left wondering why things just aren't the same, never realizing the exam was graded and filed away months ago. For you, trust is a privilege, not a right. And the audit never, ever really ends. And seventhly, emotional alchemy, transmuting rage. When most people get angry, you almost want to hand them a medal for effort. They rant, they vent, maybe they rage post on social media. You, on the other hand, have a very different approach. You don't do drama or emotional outbursts. Instead, you absorb rage like some kind of emotional alchemist, quietly converting every ounce of hurt or betrayal into pure, ice-cold productivity. You know how to weaponize disappointment, turning setbacks into secret fuel for your next big move. Someone betrays you? You won't block them or start a fight. You'll just disappear into your own world, emerging later with a new accomplishment or a life upgrade that makes their drama look embarrassingly petty. While they're busy trying to get a reaction, you're busy building your empire in the background, brick by silent brick. The people who wrong you might never see you lose your cool, but years later, when they check in on your life, they'll notice you've outgrown, outpaced, and outclassed them without ever raising your voice. Your revenge isn't loud, it's existential. The only warning they'll get is your sudden silence and your unstoppable progress. If anger were an energy drink, you'd be the only one reading the ingredients and quietly turning it into rocket fuel. Eighthly, Premeditated obsolescence. When most people think about leaving a relationship or a job, it's a dramatic process. Big arguments, tearful goodbyes, maybe even a last-minute change of heart. But you don't just walk away. You orchestrate your exit like a slow-motion, disappearing act. The moment you sense that something or someone no longer fits your long-term vision, you begin your quiet retreat months before anyone else realizes what's happening. You start phasing things out, one small detail at a time. Maybe your responses become a little more automated, a little less enthusiastic. You withdraw your energy so gradually that nobody can quite put their finger on what's changed. They just know something feels off. While everyone else is still having normal conversations, you're already packing your emotional bags and researching your next destination. It's not coldness, it's calculated self-preservation. By the time you finally make the official move, end the relationship, quit the job, leave the friend group, you've already processed it, mourned it, and moved on internally. The people left behind often feel blindsided, wondering how you let go so easily. The truth is, you didn't let go easily, you let go early. You rendered the whole situation obsolete long before the final curtain fell. If disappearing was an Olympic event, you'd win gold, then quietly leave the stadium before anyone knew the ceremony started. So, yes, Sigma INFJs are rare, but not because you're soft, mystical unicorns wandering the earth looking for a Starbucks quiet corner. You're rare because your mind is a labyrinth. Your instincts are a weapon. Your habits are both your shield and your storytelling. And anyone who truly knows you knows this. Your darkness isn't destructive. It's intentional, strategic, and often, ironically, the thing that protects your enormous, complicated, inconveniently empathetic heart. If any of these habits felt a little too accurate, congratulations. You're not just an INFJ, you're a Sigma INFJ, the final boss version. That's it for this video, and I'll see you in the next one.